Welcome back. If you've only just joined us, you're watching the Daily Roundup with Nina. Now, as Namibia marks International Men's Day, the spotlight turns to Keetmanshoop, where a powerful 3-day men's conference is bringing together leaders, fathers, young men and communities under the theme Sharpening Men for God's Purpose. The main organisers of the event are the Office of the First Spouse, the Roman Catholic Church and the Ministry of Gender Equality and Child Welfare. We're joined tonight by Special Assistant to the First Gentleman, Mr. Sam Ingamba, to speak to us more about this event. Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Good evening, ma'am, and thank you very much for having me.
Well, to start with, talk to us about the core message or objective behind this year's International Men's Day celebration and, of course, this men's conference.
It's very important to the viewers to know that these are two things that are involved in the objectives. You have what we call International Men's Day, and then we ought to celebrate it. That is number one. To say the objective is to make sure that men in Namibia, for the first time, we want them to feel recognized. We want them to feel appreciated, because in all part of life that we go through as men, there are some things that we did good and nobody really stands up and say, this is the degree of appreciation. So we have decided as an office of the first spouse that we are men, we should go out there of the office and appreciate fellow men on where we have done better. And then now the men conference, the objective is to make sure that the concerns of the men are discussed professionally, democratically, unitedly, and then in a very prescribed, civilized manner where all men can be able to come in at one table and say, this is what it is. Also, to say the reflection of what we have done as men, so that we can see where to continue, when to get off, where to give a special edition to our lives as men, and then also to make sure that we have created a world in which men will feel also safe.
Very important for that, yeah.
Yes.
The theme is quite powerful and striking, Sharpening Men for God's Purpose. What inspired this theme?
You see, Article 1, subsection 1, talks about that we are a secular nation also, and also to say 98% of the Namibian population believe to be Christians. So we have went in collaboration with Catholic Church to say, look, at the beginning of every man's life, if there are no fundamental and spiritual principles, nothing will happen. So we have decided to call out all men and say, this is the beginning of everything. That's why we are saying we want to depart or scratch the surface as men with a very good, golden, civilized and shining spiritual stand and a spiritual step going forward.
We know that the challenges that men face are plenty, and I want to know how this conference and gathering is going to address that. And when we speak of challenges, they can be emotional challenges that men face. Sometimes, it's financial, economic challenges, social challenges. How are you going to be addressing all of this?
This is a contribution from everyone that is required, all the tributaries that are forming up, or elements that are forming up the cycle in a country that is forming up the cycle called men. So now we are saying, if we have got these challenges, how are we going to address? It's now going to be us as the office of the first spouse going to be on the lead to say, hey, look here. First of all, emotionally, we want to make sure that everyone is well with a blue color of life. It's emotional intelligence. We want every man to be emotionally intelligent. And when everyone is emotionally intelligent and wise, we are now going to say it's now time to understand that unpacking, offloading your challenges and problems is very healthy. It's not cowardful to be a man that is unpacking. That is part of the emotions, the emotional part that we want to consider. Now, coming to economics, when you look at the people that are having or that are earning too much monthly are men. But when you look at the people that are building the country and families are more women. Why? It's because we are also not economically smart to make sure that we are financially disciplined, we are economically well-mentored, and we can also have to invest our time into economic classes that will help us to become financially and economically able. These are the things that we also want to discuss, to say budgeting for men must be one of the subjects that we can discuss in now or going forward. Because our men can have a lot of too much money in earning, but then when it's coming to budgeting, then we are a little bit going an acrobatic style, and we do not want that going forward. And also socially, is to say, when you have failed from emotions and economics, then there's no a way in this world that you're going to make a good social figure.
Right.
Now we are avoiding all this to say, if we are men that are frustrated because we have made wrong economic decisions, that have made wrong emotional decisions, there is no way we are going to be good parents. Positive parenting requires a man that is economically fit, emotionally fit, before you are socially fit. And remember that a lot of contribution to social decays and social unhealthiness is contributed by men that have failed in a certain area.
Right.
But if we start emotionally, economics, then socially we are going to make a very, very healthy nation formed by a lot of elements of men that are socially active, socially wise, and socially healthy.
Another beautiful aspect of this program and conference is that you'll be involving the Keetmanshoop Correctional Facility. So why is it important, for the organizers, yourselves and your partners, to include inmates in this year's International Men's Day initiative?
One thing about the first gentleman that I must give out to public is that he's not a father, he's a dad. And then when he thought of, regardless of what they have done, regardless of how deep one have contravened with the laws of the state, they are still men. They form part of us. And then he have decided, according to the analysis or the research that we have made, it shows that there are 88 inmates there in a week. Now, looking at those, no female, they are all males. That tells you something is not right somewhere. But also, remember that these people, when you bring them out, they are not only going to celebrate with you, but they are also going to share practical experience on what are the root cause of men that leads them to be behind bars. Because being behind bar is a process. It has to start somewhere. Now, even if we go and talk about this to inmates, it will not help us. But them coming to educate us, what got them there? What will help us so that the number of people that are committing crimes in the country reduces? Now we will not cut the branches, but we'll tackle the problem from the root cause. That's why the first gentleman have decided in his own personal capacity as a dad to say, I need these people. We must talk as men to men. We must talk so that we can see how we are going to live in one harmonized world, in one country called Namibia as happy people.
I love that. Well, we know it's a 3-day conference, a 3-day program. I'm sure there's lots that'll be transpiring over those 3 days. But just briefly, talk to us about the key highlights and stuff that can be expected over the course of those days.
It can be 3, it can be 4. So it's going to be a very interesting week in Keetmans, and we are urging everybody to come. It's just to say we have got the official opening, where the first gentleman is going to open it officially, and this is going to be free entrance. This is one of the most unmissable part of the event. And then we also have the inmate engagement that is going to be strictly closed doors with the inmates due to some security and emotional security and purposes. And then we are also having the engagement. It's going to be very, very interesting because we are going to have an engagement with the leadership. Now, when you are talking about the leadership, you are not only talking about political leadership, you are talking about spiritual leadership, academic leadership, political leadership, traditional authority. So we need to understand as men, because this is not just a thing that we are planning for now. It's an ongoing and a prolongable type of a plan that we want based on our pillars when we came in the office. So to say, when these leaders come, we are now going to plan the way going forward. When should we have it? What should be done? How should be done? Who will be involved? And what pace must be done? Remember, speed second, quality first. We want to have a quality engagement.
Who are you targeting? Is it open to all men, or is there a specific group that you're aiming for?
Yeah, it's a little bit challenging and broader when you talk about men. Who is men? What age is men? Yeah, but we have got a first pillar and is the head of all our strategic pillars, which is a boy child. So whoever is in the capacity of being able to hear what we are saying is more than welcome. And you can be mature at 14, you are more than welcome. And you can also be a man that needs to be talked to at the age of 100. So we expecting everybody, but we need to have people that have registered for their entrance because we need to have control. So Catholic is very open, they can go and register. So in other words, anybody that is at the age of being a consumable man that will be able to consume information is more than welcome.
Fantastic. Well, beyond the first gentleman, who I know is also going to give a special address, of course, to the gentlemen in attendance, who are some of the other speakers, you know, faith leaders and facilitators that attendees can expect to hear from?
Remember, as an office, we are not operating in a vacuum. We are attached to the government. The government have got the NDP6, they've got all the policies, and we need to include the government whenever we are doing this. So first of all, we have the office of the Vice President will be represented by the Special Advisor to the Vice President, Ms. Kissing. She will be there. And then we also have the Deputy Minister of Education, Honorable Balotti. We also need him to be there as a young person, as a man also, to come and also engage with the public. Right. We also have the Deputy Minister of Mines and Energy, Ms. Claudia Croane. She will also be able to tell us from her own indigenous experience, because she's from the South, to see what advice and what lessons and what education is in her, at their disposal that will be beneficial to people. We also have got Honorable Governor and other governors that will be joining. They will also be given a platform so that they will be, you know, joining the rest. Fantastic.
Just lastly, Mr. Ngambo, your final remarks this evening, and perhaps just tell us where exactly it will be happening in Keetmanshoop and give us all those details.
The event will be discussed very soon in full details, because I might not have enough time to discuss it. But anybody that will be able to be in Keetmas as from tomorrow, they must go and register at Catholic. And then that is the whole departing. And then the venue is a little bit now under scrutiny, and then we'll be able to have it by tomorrow. And we have Mr. Andreas Robles, who will be the contact person, who is now based that side. So whoever needs a number, they can also go to Catholic and get the number, because in air now it's a little bit challenging for me to give it. But however, I am saying there is no a healthy nation without enlightened and well-corroborated men. So we are pleading for all men that will have time to make to give us the humble parcel or piece from their time to make sure that they drop by and support the office of the first gentleman or the first spouse to make sure that the dream that we are partaking into is achieved. And it can only be achieved when we are united, when we are collectively engaging, and when we are working together as fellow men. But women, you are advisors, you are our ribs, our right, our left hand. You are more than welcome also to come and say, this is what you can say from the back of the chair.
Mr. Sam Ngambo, thank you so much for your time this evening, and all the best with the planning and executing the event. Thank you.
Thank you very much for airing our event. NBC, it's a mother to all the informants in the country. So without you, we have got no wings to fly.
Thank you so much. Well, we're going to be back shortly with more conversations here on the Daily Roundup, but with Nina to stay with us.